Martinez.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yay! So Will, first and foremost, let's get the important stuff. What is going on with Dark Fringe Radio?
Well, revamped the website, so check it out, darkfringeradio.wordpress.com. We also just dropped another episode. You can also see the video of the episode on YouTube. It's Dark Fringe Radio on YouTube. You can find it pretty easily. And this last episode, we talked about the Riverside Monster and the story of Charles Wenzel. So it's a pretty interesting story about a cryptid and a little twist of the story at the end where there's another Charles Wenzel from another place on the same year seeing something else. So it's kind of crazy. So yeah, you have to check it out on the website, darkfringeradio.wordpress.com, or all the streaming sites were available there too as well.
Well, I saw you post something this week, and it wasn't I didn't know about this, but what is it, the monolith, or how do you say it?
The monolith.
Monolith, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's been appearing all over the place, I guess, mm-hmm. or appeared once in the United States and appeared,
this is what happened. It first appeared in a desert in Utah, out in the middle of nowhere. They were actually doing a reading of bighorn sheep in the area and by helicopter, and then they saw this metal thing all of a sudden. And next thing you know, it caught fire as far as the media is concerned, and it caught fire in social media. And people started taking pictures of it. You saw this big metal thing out in the middle of nowhere, and then it disappears. And later we figure out what happens, but it disappears. And another one pops up in Romania. For some reason. Who knows? And then that one disappears. And now there's another one in California.
Where in California?
Somewhere in the desert in California. So there's a new one now, the third one in California. Probably a copycat or whatever. But there's another one in California. Who knows what's going on? It's probably some kind of artist doing something. But the first one that was in Utah, they saw there was video and photos of them breaking it down and taking it out. I don't know. They said it was the wildlife officials or because they said it's litter. So they decided to break it down and take it out. I don't know. But then the one in Romania disappeared. So I don't know what's going on, but it's kind
of like a mirror. It seems like all these helicopters, airplanes, or something would be able to see more of these if they're out anywhere. But I don't know if you saw. I sent it to you, I think, but on TikTok, it's Bigfoot related. My opinion, it's Bigfoot. He's out in the desert now, y'all. No more woods. You Bigfoot, you Squatch hunters out there, you need to go to the desert and hunt Bigfoot. But anyway, how was your Thanksgiving?
Great. Had a great Thanksgiving. Went out to the outdoors for a little while and did some snake hunting, and everything's good now. Back home.
Did you catch any anacondas?
No, it's not anacondas, it's pythons. So what happens is here in Florida, we have an invasive species problem here. With the pythons, they're actually eating everything and taking over. Even the alligators, they're killing the alligators. So they have to be basically taken out. And so there's they let people just go down there and hunt them all the time. And so what we did is, we went down there. It was just too cold though. So they were kind of nestled up in their nest and stuff. So we couldn't find any, but we'll be back out there again. It's pretty cool though.
What's too cold down there then?
Too cold for the animals. Too cold for them. It was 70 degrees. So believe it or not, I know. Yeah, even it's something 50, like that.
It's 40 to 50.
I know. For you guys, but for us here, that. I mean, normally it's 85. So that's a 15-degree drop for them. They just hide. So. Next time. Yeah. Well,
also too, for quick humor on Friday, I just want to mention this because we're going to talk some numbers tonight. We're going to talk political a little bit. No Trump or Biden, people. No Trump or Biden. But we're going to talk a little bit political tonight, and we're going to talk about some other topics too. That's Jeffrey, I say Epstein because he's German. I'm German last name. Epstein, like Frankenstein. His name is spelled the same. It's not Epstein. It's Epstein to me. But if you call him Epstein, that's cool. And Delane Maxwell, we're going to talk maybe possibly, if we get there, Britney Spears and her hidden messages in her Instagram, because that's becoming like really well known now. So is Britney sending us signals? I don't know. But for humor today, before we went live, I found out today that Rudy Giuliani farted.
He had a little mishap, unfortunately. Listen, I don't know. Like you said, we talked about this a little bit before the show. I don't know what it's like to be that age. I guess things are a little bit looser. But it's just the thing is like when you're trying to make an important point about something, which he was in the middle of a sentence, and it just comes out, and you're just like, damn, like, and he keeps on, and it's just like, man, you just blew it, bro. I'm just like, I don't know. And the look of the lady right next to him, she was like, with those eyes, she's like,
oops.
She just looked at him like,
I did it again. And then also, I sent you stuff too. I don't know if you've seen this today, Will, or not, but Dr. Phil, his TikTok, please, everybody. I laughed my butt off today. I got sidetracked from work a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Over Dr. Phil's TikTok account, every one of them, like, I didn't know he had that great of a personality. He was funny, and don't call him daddy. So,
what the funny thing about him is that he does these videos and he's funny, but at the same time, he has that monotone voice, like that Dr. Phil voice, He
has a scary dad voice to me. Like, I don't know if I'd want to, but one of his kids played tricked him on one of his TikToks there today too. So I watched. So I love Dr. Phil. But anyway, let's get on to the really important stuff. Our guest tonight. She's been on here before, everybody. Actually, I think this is her third time. She was on here for the first time, our last show in December of last year. And we did all the numbers and stuff and actually predicted, which we didn't know at that time, like medical issues that's going on.
Right.
And
she was right.
Yes, she was right. So numbers do not lie, y'all. No. They do not lie. So we have Miss Joy Woodward tonight. Yeah, I said Woodward.
Yeah, right? You got it.
Okay. So I'm doing two things at once. So
I know. I'm trying to help you.
So I accidentally closed it, but she actually had a book that came out last December too. It was like a beginning book of numerology and talk about the numbers in your life path and everything. So we're going to bring her on right now, Mrs. Joy. Yay, Joy of Numerology. Hey. Yay. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous. How are you tonight?
Good. Will made me second guess myself.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm like, I said that right.
You got it.
I mean, because it's the third time you're on the show, I should know your name.
All good.
It's our third date. It's not like our first date.
Third base.
Third date.
Yeah. So how have you been for 2020? Because you were on, the last time you were on was actually in May, and we discussed a little bit of COVID-19 and all the stuff that was going on and some other numbers. And we did numbers on pets and stuff in May too and everything. So how have you been since then?
Lockdown. I mean, we're pretty much just doing the home thing, working from home. All my clients I see online now, so it's all good. I miss my friend.
I think too, we're back on lockdown again in Kentucky. Like all restaurants and stuff is to go. Hair salons. My hair lady contacted me. She's going to be, because I'm supposed to get my hair done next week. She's going to contact me about when she can and what's going to happen. So yeah, total lockdown again.
I've been no bangs.
No, you look great.
You cut your own hair.
You look great. You look great.
They look good. At least they didn't go like, like last time they were like
trying to get away with it, but it's all good.
Will looks like he has a fresh fade.
Yeah, last week, but yeah, it's pretty fresh. The gray's coming in. Oh, geez, the gray's coming in.
Oh,
We have Kate, which is, she goes
Hey,
by
Kate.
Whisper Soul. She's become one of my really good friends over the lockdown and doing a lot more stuff on social media. She has joined in on a lot of some YouTube stuff. So Kate, she's coming over to the Facebook side tonight instead of YouTube.
Nice.
So hey Kate, thank you for joining in. If you're all watching and this is your first time watching the show, please share this video to your pages and everything. It helps the network, it helps our guests, and it helps us for What the Frick Live. We really truly appreciate it, and we hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Since you're on lockdown too, Joy, how did you all celebrate Thanksgiving this year?
Oh, just every holiday is my husband and myself. That's it. That's what we do. So we still cook. We still do what we would normally, if we normally would have turkey, we had turkey. But yeah, it's just the two of us. So luckily we like each other. So that's, I think there's a lot of stress on a lot of relationships if I think about my clients and what kind of issues they're experiencing right now. So it definitely is highlighting some issues in relationships.
Seen a lot of breakups and divorces this past year rather than get-togethers and dating and engagements. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it's hard to do the latter of the two. You know what I mean? Because of everything what's going on this year. So,
like numerically, it was a horrible year to get married. So it was actually a blessing for those people that didn't get married. So it's good. It's so much Mercury, Mars retrograde stuff. It wasn't good.
You know what? This would probably be the year for me to get married since it's bad for everybody else, and I ruined it. That's what it is.
Okay.
Friday the 13th birth date, which we're going to talk about some numbers here.
Yeah.
Will, before I go into some questions, because I talk a lot, let you start a little bit with tonight.
Well, I just wanted to thank Joy for coming on again, and it's always a pleasure having you on. I wanted, of course, and I wanted everybody, especially the new listeners to the show, if you could give them maybe just like a Reader's Digest version of numerology, how it all works, how it works with the planets, and give us maybe just a brief explanation of that and how it works. Yeah.
Well, numerology is, I would say, complementary to astrology. They usually don't contradict each other, but they really do help each other and complement each other in finding further meaning in what's going on. So, like, for example, we're kind of changing to this, Aquarius, there's a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, there's all sorts of stuff happening with that. And we're going into a 5 numerical year, and that brings change. So numerology is very much based in science. When you're looking at a personal profile, you take the birth certificate name of the person that you want to read, and that reveals all sorts of karmic issues, karmic relationships, your strengths, your weaknesses, how people perceive you. And the really important part that is super useful to daily life is your personal cycle. And that can help you navigate what type of year you're going to have, what types of things you should be working on, and where to really find personal growth.
Great.
So a little bit too about you, Joy, is how did you, for the viewers that haven't seen the episode, because we're on a new network too now, how did you get started in numerology, and what made you draw to, be attracted to numbers rather than just astrology?
Yeah, so I am totally the accidental numerologist. I had a huge corporate career. I was, making lots of money in the corporate world, and numerology kind of found me. So I ended up having a reading, and I realize now that it wasn't awesome, but it was still intriguing. And so I bought a book, and that's kind of how it started. And eventually it ended up being a job. I used it as a cool party trick for a while. I would do it unknowingly on my coworkers, you know, and which was actually quite handy. But it was kind of a cool party trick. And then people started asking for appointments. And I was like, I don't do that. And they're like, I'll pay you. So
that's awesome.
So
show me the money, right, Will?
Yeah. Exactly. But it started as something as innocent as that, but then it got serious, because it is serious. Because these things that you do, and these the numbers that you're able to decipher with all the tools that we have, and you explain that in your book very well. I mean, it helps us make decisions on things that we should be doing in our life at that moment, especially when we're presented with situations that come up that are unsuspecting. So your book helps us, helps people, decipher, what should we do during that time.
Yeah, and I find the most helpful part for me has been in being able to understand people, and they just don't surprise you, right? Like if someone has a certain number in their chart and they, betray you, you're like, okay, yeah, you betrayed me. I see what's coming. Like, you're not capable of loyalty, or yeah, you are really selfish, or wow, money is more important to you than anything. Like, so those types of things that I'm able to tell from a profile are very helpful when navigating relationships, for sure.
Linda Judd, by the way, she's one of our regular viewers. So thank you, Linda. And she also shared tonight's program. So thank you so much for your support. We really, truly appreciate it. But she also said Joy's book is very useful. And I have it pulled up here on Amazon. So you can still purchase her book. Now, there was some discussion. Weren't you going to do a second book?
Yeah. So I'm in a personal 7-year for 2020. Okay. So I'm going to start writing my second book, because it makes sense to do that in a 7 year.
Awesome.
So, in 2021.
Yeah. So numerically, there's good times to do things and not great times, and they're more successful in certain cycles than others. And so in my 5-year, I wrote my first book, and I'll be in my personal 7-year. I'm going to work on a second book.
Awesome. Well, it's the Beginner's Guide to Numerology. I have the book, and I read the first 2 chapters of it, and I have my friend Tiffany that oh my gosh, I want that, blah, blah, blah. So I loaned her out the book, and I haven't got it back. And I was sitting there thinking this past week, I need to get the book back. Or what I need to do is just buy it again for myself as a Christmas gift.
There you go. There you go.
To myself. But everybody can look it up on Amazon. I actually have it here. I looked it up under your name, Joy Woodward. Here, but the Beginner's Guide to Numerology, which I think is the first steps of actually learning, because there's so much, there's so many different topics.
Yes.
It's overwhelming a little bit. How do you remember all that?
It's, that's a fabulous question. I was talking about this with a client the other day. She was asking me what's my purpose? What's my destiny? And how did you end up in numerology? How did you find that? Because you love it so much. It wasn't so much that I was learning it when I started reading about it. It was like I was remembering it. So I think your lives hold a lot of clues and information to things that you're already good at. And so when you find that thing that you really jam with and you're just really good at it, you're remembering how to play violin. You're remembering you're a pianist. You're remembering astrology. You're not necessarily learning it brand new.
It's kind of like tarot card readers, really, because they have that whole big deck of cards, and then they can just spit off whatever it is on that card, because I'm sure some of them had to memorize things, but I've seen a lot that just, it comes to them naturally, and they just remember.
Yeah, and I was kind of the same with tarot, but I find I'm so much more gifted at numerology. I really focus my efforts there. But there's things that you'll find that you're so good at. It's because you're remembering how. You're not necessarily recreating or learning new things. And the difference, right?
Say that again?
What?
You kind of know the difference. When you're learning something and it's challenging and it's a struggle and it's hard, that's new information for your soul. right? You haven't been here before. You don't know. But when you're, I read a book one time and I remembered everything in it. And so then I went to the next and the next, and then I took some courses, and then I got some certifications because I wanted to legitimize myself, because from the corporate world, that was important to me. But it's not always necessary.
Now we have an interesting, which is kind of a question I was going to ask tonight. We have a viewer here, Danielle. She says, I'm about to turn 44 next week. Do these numbers mean anything? So it's an echo. I learned that in numerology. It's an echo, or it echoes each other. So when we hit these milestones of like 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, and so forth, does these really have true meanings with our age, or, and things with birthdays?
Absolutely. So this is probably one of the most, argued things in numerology, of how people figure out this number. I like to look at it as a completely separate number. And after thousands of readings, I really feel like that's the best way to do it. So 44 is a master number, same as when you're 11 or 22 or even 47 adds up to an 11. So you'd be in an age vibration. Those all have special meaning. When you hit master number years, there's usually a destined event that comes with it. So I was 44, I wrote my book, like my book was released, right?
You're not 44.
Oh, I'm older than 44. Thank you. That's
no way.
Your hug, because
Will's older than me. I didn't know that either.
I'm 75.
But when I wrote my book, right, went to #1 and it's been doing really well. So that was like sort of a reward, because 44 adds up to hard work. Like 4s are hard work and diligence and, following rules and trusting the divine. And it adds up to an 8. And 8 holds both monetary awards and sort of status awards, I would say. So that was that. If you're, at 22, a lot of times there's a destined event involving relationships. Either someone will come into your life, someone will pass, someone will get married, maybe you have a baby. Like there's always a destined event. So probably 33 would have been.
Doesn't Taylor Swift have a 22 song?
I don't know.
I wish I was 22 or something again. Like 22 is a big year for me. I remember 22 for myself.
Yeah.
So when that song came out, I related to it. So
yeah. So it's master number years. So the first numbers of what they're made up of will always tell you what they're about, and that second number will always tell you sort of the destined about what's happening.
Also with names, and we don't have to go into this. This is just interesting to me because I checked out her first name, because her first name is spelled different than a regular Danielle. She has a lot of echoes. She has 2 N's and 2 L's, and then her last name has 2 F's. So isn't that great? There's a lot of echo there. There's a lot of Joy, don't feel like you have to, but like I haven't seen that before. So the double, and then the 44. Am I thinking like numbers by looking at her name like that, or?
Yeah, you're probably like subconsciously you're doing that. So the 2 N's would be like 55. So it's a 55 together. And then the 2 L's is like a 33. So it's definitely sort of, I would say it's like punching it up.
And then her last name has 2 F's, Griffin.
So that's 66.
Yeah. So, that's crazy.
She's working a lot of master energy there, but to find super meaning in it in numerology, you want to look at the totals of what was happening and
make that out.
Reading the chart in its entirety is really important, where you can completely go down the wrong rabbit hole.
Yeah, well, her nickname was Echo.
Oh,
when she was younger.
If that doesn't solidify it enough, well, there you go.
Wow, man. That's awesome. Linda Judd said her favorite number is 55.
So 55 is 2 5s. 5s are about change and freedom and adventure. 2021 is a 5-year overall. When I look at that number as in totality, it's a 10. 10 in tarot would be the Wheel of Fortune card, and it's sort of a reset of karma, but it's like, what do you want to be, right? Spin the wheel. So it's 1.
Wow. So Linda, spin the wheel and then message me. I want to know what's going on.
Emily wants her 5%.
Will any follow up now? Because I've talked for a moment here, but
no. I mean, I'm just so amazed at how, one thing I wanted to kind of bring back that we didn't talk about yet is how accurate you were from the last time you were on our show.
Yes.
And so I think this needs to be highlighted because I think this is very important because it's, it really does validate what you do. So first thing you said, obviously it was going to be a medical type of, issue year.
I said the medical system would be highlighted. It would be
right.
center. And I I didn't call pandemic,
right.
but I did say it would be medical. Medical would be front and center. I thought there would be another vaccine sort of controversy going on. We're talking about vaccines. It's not in the same way. And I said big institutions. So I said bank and government.
Yes, you did.
Police. And
Which
I think
Wall Street is going crazy right now. So there you go with the banks.
All of those. So, and
Fred Schneidenberger.
It's also learning to release control in a 4-year. And you had a lot of people that struggled with that and pushed against being controlled. So
yeah,
that happened.
I'm sorry, Joy, you cut out for a moment there. That's why I said hi to Fred Schneidenberger, because it cut out for a moment for me. But you've picking up on a lot of things that happen in America. Now you live in Canada. So are these things happening in Canada too that you're witnessing? Or?
Yeah, so in a different way. And I mean, we're neighbors, and obviously the US, what happens to you, you catch a cold, we get sick. Like it just happens. So with that, I mean, we pay close attention to your elections. We know a lot about what's going on with that. And it does impact us, but we had our own election the year before, and ours looks very different than yours. In our government has been very, I would say generous, I guess, with helping people in COVID. There's a lot of money flowing. We have universal health care, which is quite different than you.
I'm a proponent for that.
We've got.
Believe it or not, I am. Okay, I am.
Are you a Bernie girl now?
I think that insurance is a scam on any level. Car insurance, homeowners insurance, health insurance is all scam. So I agree. I am a Republican. I'm announcing that right now. But there's some Republicans out there that have some other universal thoughts that go through their mind and are not like stagnant in the Republican way. How about that?
So, I mean, things that happen in the U.S. happen here, but in a different way, but they're still along the same theme. Like I live in Alberta, and right now they're talking about field hospitals because our COVID cases are so high. So
wow,
that's happening, right? And, just things about mandatory masks. Like we've had mandatory masks since, I want to say it was April or May in the city I live in. So it's just the same but different.
We've had a lot of that too, mandatory masks and things, and I'm kind of borderline on it. I would obviously think that it was possibly just a big hoax, but I've had family that's passed away from COVID, family that's had illnesses, underlining illnesses. And then I've had people in my church, or even just related to me too, that's had no problems, has been healthy, maybe go to the urgent care for flu or something like that, but has passed away. So a lot of these people are coming out that don't think that this is real. And I've seen a lot of callous posts on social media throughout the last months. And if it didn't happen to me, I can understand, but it's happened to me and it's real. So I have a high risk kid, so I have to be cautious of that too.
Well, even when you break it down further from the universal year into months, I don't know if you remember, I was talking about how March was when they put everybody on that initial lockdown, and that was a 7-month. 7 is sort of a reclusive energy. And now in December, we're also in a universal 7-month, and we're getting sent back on lockdown.
It's back.
Right. So I had said, like, I think December will be like, it's going to get worse than fall. And it sort of did follow that pattern.
Yeah, it did.
I also had predicted that I said April would be our first possible exit from this. And
yeah,
I think sort of when the vaccine will start rolling. But because we're going into a 5-year, it's a big expect the unexpected. I do expect the virus to transmute. I think there's going to be drama and chaos around the vaccine. I don't think it's going to be as smooth or effective as everyone's hoping. But it's a 5-year, and that rules chaos and drama. So if people thought 20, like I see all these posts where people are like, bye-bye 2020, I'm so over you. And I'm all like, if you think 2020,
dude, I want 2019 back. Give me 2019.
Yeah. Give me 2000. Give me 2000. Everybody's worried about Y2K. Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah. Leaves the White House. So
listen, I believe 2021, but Joy, with numbers and everything, because I've researched this out, we've had a big pandemic or illness that's gone back. I went back all the way to 1520. So 1520, we had a pandemic, 1620, 1720, 1820, 1920, 2020. And reviewing what I've researched, it's at least lasted a year. So they say that COVID-19 came out in like November 19. Well, that was over in China. So it didn't hit the US until really February of 2020. And then it really affected the US in March of 2020. I personally think, now I don't do numbers. You're the one that does that. And I don't know if you've done that, but I don't think that we're going to see like a real true clearance of it until like May or June of 2020.
I think that's optimistic. Personally, I think that there will be a shift and change, and probably in spring, people will let their guard down. They'll think everything's getting better, but I think the virus will transmute, and so it's not necessarily going to be as effective as they had hoped. I mean, in a 5-year, all you can do is plan for the unexpected, and the only thing you're in charge of is your reaction. That's it. You can control how you react.
So by you saying that, let me jump in real quick, Joy. So it could actually go the opposite way. Something miraculous could happen too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally could happen. So, but I think when you're looking at these in historic sense of how long the pandemic lasted, they also didn't have air travel. They also didn't have the means to jump across countries and oceans in hours. And so the spread of this is on such a bigger scale.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's going to take a bigger solution.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of numbers really quickly, hold on, I'm just pulling this up to make sure I'm correct a little bit on this, because I am a Christian. I come from a Christian standpoint. Numbers are crucial in the Bible. Okay. Yeah. And birth dates and the time you're born, and he even numbered the days when he created earth and all that stuff. But I remember in Bible college, I learned that the number 5 was the meaning of grace. It's a grace period too. So are we going to come out and hold on, it's Google. Google's still spinning here a little bit. Let's see. Okay. Number 5 is a symbol of God's. So one of the most widely mentioned words in God's word. It's also a number that symbolizes God's kindness and favor in humankind. And they put John 1:16 up here for that. So, it could go both ways. But if you're thinking about it from a biblical standpoint, like I am, I'm hoping that we're going to see some grace in this and overcome in a 5-year.
I think a 5 year is about change, and 5 is the number that is most readily to accept new ideas. Like if you think back to gay marriage, when that was like totally like, oh my gosh, do I agree with this or not? And what do I think about this? The 5s are the first ones to get on board with that. They're the ones who go, it doesn't affect me. I don't care. Go ahead, get married. They're the first ones to put that on. So they're really adaptable and they're good at rolling with the punches, right? And so when you think about that, it's you've got to. When I think of number 5 in terms of the Bible, I think of Adam and Eve, and I think of the story of the Garden of Eden and temptation. And if you look at the numerical values of Eve, it's actually a 14-5. So 14-5 holds karma, and it's about temptation and moderation and learning how to deal with addiction. So to me, that is much more numerically exciting than, like grace to me is actually more of a 7 energy. So
Grace, you're boring. Go to 7.
5.
Well, 7 is a very spiritual number, and it's more of that.
It is. 7 is spiritual too.
So yeah, it's just different. But so 5 energy is about learning moderation. So everybody needs to sort of deal with their opinions.
It's 7, like biblically speaking too, is like completeness and wholeness, and has gone on like that. Whatever you're going through has been completed, and it's time for you to move forward to something else. That what I remember from Bible college, and that was, golly, I can almost say 20 years ago. Is that bad? It's bad. I'm getting old.
That's all right.
Wow.
Daggone it. I'm going to start sweating now over here. So now I know that I sent you a bunch of topics that we wanted to kind of address or talk about this evening. And I didn't realize how political it was until after the fact, because I had my reasons in why I sent you what I sent. I had, obviously, it was more socially centered at first, then some experiences that happened to me, and then the one person, and this will get political for a moment. Please, everybody, I love you. Whatever you believe in it. I support you. But before we go, really what I'm interested in is Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi. I want to know her numbers, because every time, like, she makes my skin jump, and I'm not one of these people, like, I mean, obviously I can take on Trump, but I don't know, something about her is so, I feel like she's a snake, like, and I would like to know her numbers. Now, if you tell me her numbers are different, then I will take that into consideration the next time I see Nancy Pelosi on TV.
Okay. Well, I did Nancy's numbers, but I thought if I did Nancy's, I also should look at Mitch's.
Okay, yes. I don't support Mitch from Kentucky.
Phantom of the Opera himself.
I don't support Mitch.
You're from Kentucky. I thought I should look at both. What's really...
I just drank it all.
What's interesting about both their profiles is the amount of karma, the amount of karmic debt and karmic lessons that they're working. The only person that I've seen more karma in a chart
is Trump.
King narcissist himself.
So there's a little bit of narcissism that shows up for all three.
A little bit?
Yeah, you haven't done my ex-boyfriend, okay? That's all I gotta say.
You told me about him, so I'm pretty sure I can just, like, I pretty much know what I'll find. It's fine. So anyway, in all three of those charts, there's a lot of karma. There's abuse of love, there's abuse of substance or addictions, there's abuse of power, there's abuse of like laziness from a past lifetime. It shows up in all of them.
Wow.
And so these are people, like, you know, when I said, this was before we were on air. Sorry.
Yeah, the dog doesn't like it either.
I stopped talking about Nancy. So when I look at all of them, though, it tells me that they're all in karmic relationships. So Mitch and Nancy are just banging heads because they're so alike. Like, they're so like each other.
I can see that.
That's the interesting part, that you have these people with all these positions of power and they're all the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So sorry. What is
No.
Sorry.
So we're seeing. Oh, I can't say that.
You can't see that.
I was going to say we're seeing a political circle jerk.
Oh yeah.
Wow. First time we mentioned circle
I'm
jerk here
so
on the
sorry,
podcast.
Joy. That's
one way to say it.
beep.
Wow.
Is that a beep? That's
Jeez.
a beep.
Look
at Will. Sorry.
When I look at your chart
Wow.
and Nancy's chart, the way the numbers are across from each other, which is what I would look at in like, let's say, a romantic relationship or a family relationship, almost every number going straight across is sort of toxic to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And that would make sense for you to have such a strong reaction to her. But when you look at the chart in completion, you really, I mean, she's no different than Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just think that there comes a time, and what really bothered me, if you don't like who's in leadership, they're in leadership for a reason. There's been plenty of people I've worked for that I didn't approve of in leadership. When you rip up something behind the president on national television, I just thought that was classless and just attention seeking. So, just take it with grace. 5-year grace period. That's what I'm going to say. You need to have some grace. If you don't agree with it, don't do that on national television. Don't show that it's okay to defile a leader like that.
So,
and move on. Looking
at your chart, you actually have numbers for political career.
I could see that.
Well, they've asked me to be city commissioner several times to run because I don't like bullshit and I don't like liars, and I'm for the small business, and they're trying to wipe out small business, not just like in my city, but nationally. And that's what runs this country. Like, I bought a shirt the other day, that guy up there, Max, up in New York, that they arrested him because he was still opening his business due to the mayor and the governor's decision to close everything down. Like, I think that you should still be able to open your business. Just have your precautions up and do what's right. I don't think at this time, like, I don't know. I bought a shirt. I supported the guy.
I know in Alberta, they've taken a little bit of a different approach. Like, they went, you know what? No one has caught COVID from a hair salon. We're going to let them stay open with the precautions we've put in place. The big spreading events aren't in retail stores. We're going to let the stores stay open with limited hours. So they've tried to sort of do that, but it's a little bit different than the all or nothing approach that I kind of see in the U.S. a lot.
Yeah, our small business is hurting.
We have the highest numbers in the country, so I don't know.
Well, our small bad, and that's really the middleman. Is what keeps the economy going, and it has hurt a lot, and just here in my local town, which we are, like, I hate to say a podunk town, but like so many businesses and everything has gone out of business, and now we have more empty slots than we have capacity or full slots, and it's sad, which is also will trickle down to the taxpayer. And then, you know, we have taxes or loans out on this, like the TIF Act and things on some certain districts. And then our property value is not going up because everything's going out, but we're paying more taxes on our property due to the loans and stuff that's outstanding. So I'm into all that, but I have a degree in finance and accounting and business, so
you have a lot of
I'm passionate about all that stuff. So
yeah. Well, if you look at that 5-year, there is going to be a lot of volatility in the market and with property values, with everything. Like, it's just not predictable. Like, I don't think people are ready for necessarily the type of chaos that might come. If extraterrestrials were going to contact us, it would probably be in a 5-year. Like, plan for the unexpected. I was excited.
I'm ready.
Kanye West is ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah. So,
I'm ready.
5 energy in general, like if we're going the 5-year, I went right back to 1904 looking for patterns of.
Okay.
So I expect that there'll be big climate events. Like, so if you go backwards, we've had tsunamis, the big earthquake in San Francisco. And something I intuitively got was actually the map shifting and changing. So whether that's like China taking things, or, I know they're fighting with territories over there. Russia always is trying to redraw territories over there. Maybe the Dakotas become one state. Maybe DC becomes a state.
Maybe the Dakotas become China. Because during Obama, that's a whole lot. Like, I know about it because where I worked in.
Yeah. So with that, also you had the big earthquake in 1984. It was in San Francisco, right? So I could see the map changing a little bit, whether it's territorial or actual lines, because part of it falls into the ocean, like. But
California is going to go into the ocean. They have that. They have that. That line. They can go.
I'm not saying that, but it's
going to be the island, Hollywood Island.
There'll be like the hurricanes, the tornadoes, the flooding. Just fires are going to still be a big thing, and we're moving into an air sign, and that's going to fuel the flames.
Right.
So I don't expect those to get any better. But all those type of events will be big. When I went back, I also saw a lot of celebrities that passed, but in a very dramatic way, right?
Oh, no.
You're like, like Sean Connery died at home and, peacefully. No. We're talking Whitney Houston in the bathtub. We're talking the flight, the night the music died with Buddy Holly and Ricky Valens and all, like,
airplane
exits.
Princess Diana.
Profile people. Yeah, that type of energy. And so those are a couple things that can happen. Huge technological advances, like massive.
Yes.
So, like and in medical as well. So the first heart transplant happened in a 5-year. So did the first successful insulin injections happened in a 5-year. So we think big technological advances, both in medicine and in, computers. But I am expecting a big theme around space and major investment and discoveries. So whether that's extraterrestrial.
Are we going to move to the moon?
I don't know if we'll move there next year, but I think they might have passenger flights there next year.
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
That could happen. But 5 energy can be extreme. It can also be very impulsive. So I think everybody has to be aware of that and guard against impulsive behavior, impulsive decisions. It also wants to teach you about moderation. And I think if you like the COVID-15, that's totally happened to almost everyone I know. So, moderating with food, with alcohol, with drugs, like everything. Not getting rid of it completely, moderating.
Okay, my son has a question.
Okay.
He just came in. I don't know what it's going to be about.
Okay.
So. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry ahead of time.
So, and here we go.
Tom,
Now she does numbers and stuff.
when did you get your dog?
Where did you get your dog?
No,
That's what.
Easy
when?
question.
When?
That's easy.
I can't hear because I don't have your.
He's actually 9 years old. Or
Hold
he's 9. He'll be 9 in March.
He'll be 9 in March.
Mine.
He's from a very small town in Alberta where I live.
Can I have them?
No, you can't have him.
I'm pretty attached. So,
But speaking of dogs, so we talked about this last time. Dogs have numbers too.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
we love our pets. We love our animals. So
Yeah. So naming a dog is actually super important. So you
well,
want
my dogs are Republicans.
of course it is. I wouldn't expect anything else.
I'm sorry.
All good.
Like I'm ready to get a little min pin and name him Trump, but call him T-Rump.
Oh, well, I told you about his karma, right?
Will, look at Will. Will went,
A lot of karma on that name.
oh, I don't have anything else to drink.
The dog is gonna end up debating on how much food he's gonna get or not. Oh, God bless you.
I could do Ivanka or something. I could get a female.
There you go.
Hold on. So hold on. I didn't want to go Trump or Biden, and we can go a little bit over because we don't have a show after us tonight. So,
Okay.
when you did Trump, did you do his past spouses or his current wife,
Yeah, so Melania
Melania?
and him have some similar energy.
Okay.
She's I don't have her numbers right in front of me, but she's not as she's very calculating is how it comes out. And you have to know there's a number for people who lie. There's a number for honest people. There's a number for people who are extremely trustworthy. There's a number for people who are loyal. So they're all very different. In both of their profiles, there is not a lot of there's no loyalty. That's not there.
That's not well. It's a little bit. I felt like she might be a little bit more loyal than he is.
Her motivation.
She depends on him for financial reasons, or she, obviously everything's highlighted on her too at this point in time.
Yeah, and so there's also something that when you have a narcissistic profile, and even if that shows up in your profile, there's always the high low of any number. But when you end up in a narcissistic relationship, a lot of times it's just a mirror, and it's like, I like you because you're like me.
Well, how about if she starts mirroring that person because because I was in a narcissistic relationship, and then over time I kind of got fed up with the stuff and just started giving back with what he gave me, and I ended up mirroring him and through therapy because I go to therapists. It was a push-pull method that caused a trauma bond.
Right. So there's different types of relationships. And in your case, you've got 2 2s that show up, and you also have a 22-4. And 2 is the number of, it sort of is like, let me just become who you'll like, and let me not rock the boat, and let me make things smooth, and I don't want to get you angry. And so you end up really compromising a lot, but not working on good boundaries for yourself. That's one way a narcissist will, and they will find you, and they'll pinpoint you, and they will rip you to pieces.
And then when I started creating boundaries, which I didn't know was boundaries, that was like head on.
Okay, then there's another type of narcissistic relationship where they end up with each other. And it's just like,
how does that even last?
Because you're like me, and it's that whole thing, right? And it's a big mirror reflecting each other back. So I assure you, money is as important to Melania as it is to Donald, right?
Yeah.
It's not, and opportunistic and get things paid for and other people's money. That's all part of her game, right? And even when she didn't move to the White House right away in the beginning,
right,
she used that time to renegotiate her prenup, to try and put Barron on the same level playing field as his other children.
Well, so, he needs to be.
No, she used that though as leverage that time, right?
Well, she should have. If I'm a mother, I would have done it.
Smart, right? But
yeah, I would have done it.
They feed off each other, right? Apparently, she was very influential in who he chose as vice president because she believed he would be able to control Pence. And someone like Newt Gingrich or what else?
Oh, Newt! I heard him and all.
And Pence has just absolutely drank the Kool-Aid and toed the line. So I'm sure there's a lot of Republicans out there that do not enjoy what I'm saying right now, but.
Well, I'm a Republican, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a very honest person, but I kind of understand it, and I see the big picture. I think a lot of people in these different Democrats or Republicans, they block it off, and they're not open to hearing other opinions, and that's probably why we have such a division. They block things off when they don't want to hear what they've created, their own storyline.
Well, they live in their own little world, which is also the same number that is for narcissism, that has tendency to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Is the number that creates, sometimes you meet people and you're like, what planet are you on? Yeah, they created it. And they live there.
See, that's what I've said, too, for a long time. It's not a Republican or a Democrat issue. It's really a heart issue. And we don't listen to each other enough or try to communicate enough to bring about a solution. This is this on one side. Maybe that's the libertarian coming out in me. I don't know.
Well, 5 year gives us an opportunity to shift and change and come together, right? And 2022 is actually a year of compassion and understanding and nurturing. And so this year can really be a shift that going into 2022 is more about love and understanding one another. And
the 70s are coming back.
It might be.
I'm a hippie at heart too.
I was born in 79.
I was born in 72.
Oh, there we go.
I was born in 81.
Oh, you're 80s baby.
I know. Mostly a 90s girl, though. All that 90s hip hop and everything. So, Will, do you have any follow-up questions? Because I do want to talk about one more thing before we close this out. It's not
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It could be political because he's attached to a lot of political names.
No, go ahead.
Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I buy shirts. It's a big deal if I buy a shirt that deals with conspiracy. So, and they technically were in a relationship or not. Are they kind of like Pelosi and Trump and Mitch McConnell? Are both of them kind of the same? They mirror each other, but not in the right ways.
No, actually, I didn't find what I kind of anticipated, but it still makes sense.
Okay.
So Jeffrey Epstein, they all have even you also wanted me to look at Scott Peterson and
yes, Chris Watts.
Yeah, and so I looked at them as well. And so what I found in all of these profiles that contain more of a criminal element is that they all have an imbalance. And so in numerology, whenever you get more than 3 numbers repeating in a profile, in your core, you have to work extra hard at making sure you stay balanced, right? 2 isn't really a big deal. It's just sort of emphasizes whatever was going on. But when you get 3, it can really create an imbalance. And the other thing is that a lot of their profiles are really diverse. And so their head wants one thing, their heart wants another. Their birthday number, which is quite important in a numerology profile, wants even something else. And so when all your numbers come from different concords, it creates, I don't want to say mental problems, but it controls that part of your brain, right? Where you're just going to feel imbalanced. And so if you're not someone who can cope, and you're not someone who knows, like, maybe I need therapy to talk about this, or maybe this would help me, or you have a job that really, uses your energy productively, it can really show up in a not great way. And that's what I see in all 3 of those profiles. So for Jeffrey Epstein, he's got 3 3s. And that is 3 is the energy of children, right? Yeah. And it's also about expansion, and it likes things to get big and grow. He has an 8 soul number, which is completely opposite of 3 energy. And 8 soul numbers super, super concerned about money. And so when you mix this sort of childlike endeavors, like never really growing up, right, with a lot of money, and then he also has a lot of 1 energy in his chart, and actually all of them did. So if I had access to like prison records, I'm pretty sure I would find a disproportionate number of 1 energy. They're most likely to commit a white collar crime, and they're also, but they're also great competitive athletes. And if you have a 1 in your chart, it by no means says you're going to end up being a criminal. But at a low vibration, surrounding yourself with the right enablers and a little imbalance somewhere else, it creates a cocktail that just is ripe for disaster.
And even like being immature in things. And I hate to go back to narcissism, but narcissistic, after therapy and researching myself, they have the emotional capability of like possibly of a 7 or 8 year old at the oldest. So is that part of possibly a narcissistic number chart?
I did find, so different charts had different, so you can also look at a chart and tell why someone committed a crime. Right? What was the motivating factor? So I look at Jeffrey Epstein, and he really just wanted to be a child, and so he surrounded himself with young people, right? Like that sort of looks like it. And Ghislaine I'm disappointed in her. She doesn't know.
She knew better.
Well, she did know better, and she's got a lot of old soul energy, but she shares that 8 soul number with him. So it's like their hearts with each other. And money is a super motivator for her as well. And then they also have, a lot of 1 energy. So for her, it was about the money. She's got a double dose of that going on. For him, it was about feeling young, right? And then
makes sense.
Yeah, and then I looked at Prince Andrew, because he was like,
yes,
yeah. And so for him, his chart, he has 4 1s in his chart.
Wow.
And 2 of them are 19 1s, which is abuse of power from a past lifetime.
There you go.
So, I mean, what better place to learn about power than being under the Queen's thumb, right?
Right.
He's
her fingerprint.
So, but the other thing, when I usually in friends, like when I do charts of friends, a lot of people get double readings or whatever. There's similarities, right? You can see very clearly why they're friends. What troubled me about this chart is the way they're matching. It's based on a common interest, not on seeing the world in the same way.
Wow.
Not, so you can see like, oh, you're just interested in the same thing. Right. And he's got a 3 in there as well. And so that's not cool.
Hold on. Speaking of
To say the
similar
least.
interest, speaking of similar interest, and I don't know, Joy, you don't have to answer this right now, or if you want to go and just build up to it. You know, Bill Clinton was on the Lolita Express quite a few times, and he hit on me in 1997. Did you do Bill Clinton? Yeah, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton by chance?
I did do their chart.
Oh boy.
Oh,
I also looked at Monica Lewinsky because just you asked about Nancy.
I bet you Monica and I relate to each other.
My husband has heard me similar line.
Oh, nice.
That's such a great husband. I need one of
right
those. I need to know one of those because I'm empty.
So I looked at Chelsea's numbers because there's always a pattern with children, and I looked at Monica Lewinsky's numbers. What was really interesting, and I didn't expect this either, Hillary and Epstein are very similar.
I can see that.
I can see that.
So she has 3 3s in her chart. And for her, how that shows up is entitlement. And that would also be part of Jeffrey Epstein, like just entitled. I want you, I'm going to have you, right? Like you, just the entitlement is kind of it's a very low vibrational trait of that number. But that's what she had going on. And then Bill, he actually changed his name.
Codependent.
From birth. He used to be William Jefferson Blythe, B-L-Y-T-H-E.
T-H-E, right.
That was his birth name. So that's the one I always like to look at. And he actually, that wasn't a bad name for him. He didn't have a lot of karmic lessons.
It cuts out a little bit.
But he decided to change his name, and he invited in all sorts of drama. And Monica Lewinsky has a life path 14-5, and Bill Clinton has a soul number 14-5. And when numbers match across like that in a romantic couple, I actually believe he really did have feelings for her. It wouldn't have just been a piece of whatever in the White House. So he actually would have had a connection with her and looking at their 2 charts, right? And then you look at Hillary and you see how her karma plays in with Bill and Monica's. And 100% there's a karmic entanglement there where they're all teaching each other lessons.
Just like a perfect storm, huh?
Yeah, it really is.
Not to say, but I think Bill is attracted to dark-headed women. I was 17 when he told me I had nice legs and that I needed to apply to be an intern. This was Capitol Hill week up in Washington, D.C. I'm not joking. I had one other girl with me, and he hugged me. He hugged her. I still remember my outfit and everything. And I remember thinking he wasn't the president. I was thinking this old man's hitting on me. Yeah. And I responded to him and says, well, I play basketball. I didn't know what else to say. That's what I said. So, like, does Monica by chance have kind of like the same numbers as me? Not that I'm trying to make that about that, but I haven't ever thought about that before.
No, Monica's numbers are not like yours. They're very different. But her numbers are a lot like Bill's. And they're the way they show up in a way I like them to for a romantic match. Like, you know, there's different ways they show up. Him and Hillary together, it doesn't even like that's a business relationship for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Well, maybe that's why I thought this is just an old man hitting on me. And I'm like, I didn't even think of him as the president. Like at that time, I didn't at all. Not even close.
Yeah.
And
no, they don't have clean, like they're not just sort of clean profiles. Do you know what I mean? They're all really quite messy. Out of the last few presidents, when I look at their charts, Obama's actually have a very clean leadership chart.
Interesting.
Look at Emily.
I read The Paradigm and some other books from political insiders.
It was
the devil is deceptive, is all I can say.
There were no, whatever. It's pretty.
The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
The numbers
I know I said that.
but there's like you can see people's shadows in numbers, right? So like if a client brings me like some guy she's dating brings me his numbers, I can ask the questions for her to go like, he is like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas she might have blinders onto it until someone draws attention to it. And it would have taken her 2 or 3 years to figure it out. But now I've said, red flag, watch for this. So you can't hide behind your numbers. They will reveal who you truly are in your heart and soul.
So the next person I date, Joy, I'm sending you his information.
Like, what? The Obamas are bad people? Okay.
Like
First do a criminal background check and then send it to Joy right after.
I am doing background check. I wish I did the background check with this last dude I dated because I wouldn't have dated him. I'm not joking. If I knew about that prior, I would not have dated him. I'm not saying that information right now.
You wouldn't have.
If anybody knows how to talk about if you end up dating him, do the background check. Been verified. No, I went deep. I went deeper than been verified, but
okay. I have so much paper here. Okay.
And then Britney Spears, really quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
I like her.
Let me see. I like Britney. I feel bad for her too. I feel like her dad is a narcissist. Everybody.
I feel like she was just one of those kids that was just thrust into fame and just
Disney.
Yeah.
It wasn't let me see if I can sign in really quick to Instagram. I'm going to pull up some Britney Spears Instagram.
Okay, so Britney has been in a super rough cycle.
Yes.
And I think the reason they super medicated her was because she likely suffers from anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a lot of energy, right? And so she probably has a lot of anxiety and a bit of a people pleaser. But her heart and life path number are conflict with one another. So her life path number is 6, right? And then her personality number is an 8. Her soul number is a 2. Her destiny is a 1. And it makes her imbalanced and not know who she is. And on top of that, I mean, how could she know who she is? She's been told who she is or should be her entire life, right? So I think they probably got the medication based on her anxiety, and but she has a 7 maturity number, which she'll be coming into over the next 5 years, and that's really reclusive. So I don't know that a comeback is necessarily in her future. However, she is in a 9-year right now, same as Will's in a 9-year.
I'm a 9-year too, right?
No.
Oh, I thought I was 9-year. Okay.
We're talking about Will right now. Okay. Okay. So in a 9-year, it's the end of this really long cycle, this 1 through 9, right? And 2019 for you would have been an 8-year, and that deals with a lot of financials and money issues and authority figures, and that's stressful and painful a lot of the times. So you go from that to this 9-year that has a lot of endings in it. People leaving your life, relationships falling apart, just departures on different levels, even jobs ending, etc. So by the time you hit the end of your 9-year, you're just like, get me out of here. I'm done. I'm over it. Moving on. Right?
Yeah.
It's a slow start into your next year, but it's a 1 cycle. It's all good. It's totally, slate is clean. You can become whoever you want to be. You can set goals, do whatever you want. And Britney is going to be in that year. So in that 1 year, hopefully things come to light and hopefully she can move towards a change. Where I really see her sort of getting her freedom would be in 2022, because that's an 11-2 year. There's always that destined event. And I always look at the 11 like a doorway. So it could be like an exit for her.
Good. Well, I'm going to play this really quickly because I saw some post earlier that kind of like grabbed my attention with her about some possible Britney conspiracies. But this one I had seen that went kind of viral on Facebook and YouTube. So there's hidden messages between this and like the items and stuff she takes to the beach and things. Like people are really dabbing deep. Is this really a Britney conspiracy, or is this just her being herself, or kind of like, it sounds like a child listing off some things that she needs to remember to take to the beach with her, in my opinion. So here, let's play this really quickly because this is, this is Instagram here. Okay. Hold on. It won't let me turn the volume up. Hold on. Let me pause it for a second and let me figure this out.
So I thought she didn't have control over her social media accounts.
No, she does. She does it on. I don't know why I won't play the volume on this one.
She doesn't have control over anything right now, right? I don't.
No,
think, right?
she does. No, she does post. It's her posting. I mean, I don't know. If I was a manager, I wouldn't let her post some of this stuff.
I don't know that it's her, because I thought she didn't have control over any of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know why it won't let me do the volume. Let me try figure something else out. Let me try another one. See if it'll do it.
She does have the karmic lessons of the 3, 4, 6, and 8. And that's a lot. Like generally I find 1 or 2 in someone's chart, sometimes 3. She's got 4. So
wow.
She is definitely here in a lifetime of learning. But yeah.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
It won't let me play the volume on that one, but it lets me play the volume on the other ones. This one was a big conspiracy thing, so I don't know if that's weird. Let me see if I find another one that kind of was red flagged to me, like they were saying a bunch of Britney.
I couldn't find her dad's number. You probably can, Will, because you're like 007 with the little Google.
Yes.
I couldn't find her dad's birthday, because that would give me his cycle of time.
I'll find out right now.
Okay.
Let's see.
The day and month, because then I can see how it aligns with Britney, and I
don't do it either.
Figure out what's going on with him. And I didn't have his middle name either, and maybe he doesn't have one, but
see if this one will play. That one won't play either. So it must be something about a time thing where it won't, a timestamp, because it looks like the 60 seconds or less won't play. Let me see if this is one. We'll play one of these videos from Britney.
So
that's not.
So
that's
her
not
father's birthday is July 6, 1952.
Okay, he has control issues, which obviously those reports would be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he has all that entitlement that Epstein has.
Oh boy.
Oh, makes sense. Kate,
on there.
Kate. Oh well, real quickly too. That makes real good sense with her father. And I think there was a time that he should have taken over, because obviously before they took over, she was shaving her head. She was having major anxiety. She was going through all this stuff with her baby daddy.
I didn't like it when wear shoes at the gas station back.
That was great.
I was like, oh my gosh, someone help this girl. It's in a gas station.
Oh man.
But there is a part of me, like, I truly, like, there's a time where a parent may need to step in for a time, but then that parent needs to remember this is an adult and this is somebody you raised, and it's time to wean yourself out. I think he has a hard time controlling that and still wants to have a tight hold. And she has now gone through a healing stage, which has then she's gone further into he's not letting me go, and now she's back to cycle round 1 again. Is my thoughts on it. But Kate said, is she mentally capable of making it to 2022?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's based on the medication, right? Like if anything's going to kill her, it will be the drugs. But that also would be a dramatic departure that I would.
What you talked about, yeah.
Yeah.
21. But yeah, her dad has major control issues, and I know everyone like that's not news to anybody, but they show up in his profile very strong.
And to me too, watching some of her videos, when she talks, it feels like childlike when she talks, like her voice and everything. It feels like she's still in that child realm and being controlled. I'll play this. I don't know if she talks like a child or not, but this is a video that's going to let me play the sound. So let me play it. Sorry, I don't know what this will say. Or anything that it's a little over a minute. So this is letting me play the sound. So I'm assuming the other ones were less than a minute. So it wouldn't let me play. So let's see. Just a touch of rose. I'm posting just a touch of rose. Actually, this was a conspiracy. Rose and then 3 roses. I remember watching something about this now. So 3 months old, 3 roses. Like everybody was trying to read into this. So let's listen. Oh, maybe she's just playing a song.
Yeah, no, there's no audio on that.
I'll hear it.
No, I don't hear it on our end.
No.
You don't hear it? Maybe it's me then. But it's a song. Maybe What It Takes. It's me. You're in deep.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think
it's high
or any of her stuff anymore.
I mean, you just got to look at it at just a normal base, like being a childhood, entertainer from the beginning. That's stressful enough. And then what Joy's talking about with her numbers on top of that, you're just kind of throwing fuel onto the fire. And then her dad's in the picture. And so you have all this crazy stuff happening at the same time.
Yeah. And on she also has like a 6 life path. They're the fierce mama bears. Like they're the ones where you don't mess with their children. You don't mess with their family. And so they probably, I imagine, have found some kind of dynamic where he lets her spend time with the kids and kind of thinks she's in charge of that part of her life. When meanwhile, he's controlling absolutely everything else. Right. And then she'd be sort of like, well, at least I have my kids. So there'll be a way that he's manipulating her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kate says, God, those eyes. Yeah. Like I as an empath part, like her eyes, like in a lot of her videos and stuff on social media, there's a lot of anger and grudges, and then there's a lot of hurt and pain, and almost like she wants to rewrite her story.
Yeah. The thing about 8 energy, and you obviously have an 8 life path, you can't keep them down, right? So Brittany's personality number is an 8. Like total reversals are available at any time, from bottom to top, very quickly. It's also where karma finds balance. So when you have 8 in your chart, you generally don't have to wait a long time to watch something come back on someone, right? But there's a huge money theme, and obviously she's made a ton of money, so there's something to fight over, right? So when you look at her profile, you can totally see the anxiety, a sensitivity, and just that turmoil where her chart isn't really complementing itself. It's giving her lots of tools in her toolbox, but not giving her any grounding or centering.
Sad.
It is.
That is very sad.
But she's going into a 1 year, so it's like a new beginning. So she can put all this stuff behind her.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Hopefully she does that, because you know, I grew up in the 90s and the Britney Spears schoolgirl video was really popular. Late 90s, early 2000s and everything. And I've always been a big, huge Britney fan especially back in those times and NSYNC and all those, if you want to go further about New Kids on the Block and MC Hammer and Run DMC.
Yeah.
Tricky. I still run to that song when I exercise. So, I don't know. Everybody's saying that Britney's having hidden messages in all of her posts and stuff. And she started popping up just randomly on my news feed on Instagram. So I started looking at it in the last 2 months or so. And her eyes, which is a window to your soul, to me, and obviously Kate too, that's watching. And I don't know about Will or you, Joy, looking in someone's eyes, you can almost read them. She's hurting, I feel like, and there may be some truth behind her hidden messages because it's Britney.
Yeah, I feel like her eyes are, I don't want to say dead, but she's so, when you look at her, you can just tell she's super medicated. Right?
Super medicated. She kind of reminds me of Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah.
At times.
Nicole had a lot of 2 energy too. So
really?
Anxiety. Yeah.
I tried to visit her grave last March because I was in Bahamas. And they were getting ready to have a funeral. Like they wouldn't let us in. And the graveside funeral was like in 10 minutes and it was 3 graves from her. So they wouldn't let us into the graveyard. But I was there and I took a picture of the sign of the graveyard. I cried when Anna Nicole Smith died. That was all tragedy. Her son, her daughter, birth and death, and her. And then, like, it was just crazy.
Yeah, that's her whole profile. Because that's another one where I definitely would think I'd find addiction issues. Probably some anxiety, definitely some abuse of love.
Enablers?
I need the numbers of people around her to know if she had enablers.
Oh, or just like with Britney anyway. Oh, enablers.
Yeah. Oh, well, I just think, that's just sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
if you look at, I looked at OJ and Casey Anthony and Scott Peterson and Chris Watts.
We didn't even talk about Chris Watts and Scott Peterson. Daggone it,
Casey Anthony lives in the same town as I do.
Casey Anthony lives in Florida.
Hold on. She works for an attorney.
I don't know, but I know she lives right here in Lantana, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Has she had major work done? Is she still going by Anthony?
I don't know. She had a photography studio at one point where she opened up on her own, which
they closed that down.
Yeah, they closed that down. And then but you still see her every once in a while around town, and she's on dates with guys. I'm just like, how could you date that woman? It's just like, do you know who you're dating right now? Like, just Google search her. That's all you gotta do.
I bet you she's on Tinder.
Oh, I'm sure she is. And it's scary because it's just like you see it. You already know what's gonna happen.
I can't believe she's showing her face.
Oh, all the time in public. All the time, like nothing.
I mean, I guess numerically I should not be surprised, but
no. I mean,
well, I was interested in Casey Anthony's father since he was pushed in the forefront of all this and everything, because obviously the mother-father relationship there was toxic, and he was a cop and things, and there was a power struggle between them, which kind of
it's a
trickled down.
Again, her chart has 3 8s in it, right? So you've got 3 8s, which and then it's filled out by some 1s, which 1 and 8 in a relationship, for matching purposes, 1 8s tend to fall in love quickly and passionately, and they love each other hard until they don't. Right. So when
narcissist, love bombing, that's what I'm saying.
Or the roses thing, right? Where that line between love and hate. And so 1/8 energy is like that. And when it's in the same profile, when you have 1/8, it's like ruling one profile, like she hates herself. And then she loves herself. And then
That's a narcissist.
Yeah, well, she actually has sociopath numbers. Like they're different.
Okay.
There's
Well, I haven't gone that deep. I've
there's
just done narcissism. I don't know if I want to go that deep.
I don't know.
Kate said too, I thought I heard Casey Anthony's numbers were a train wreck. So that bold and care. I did it judge added. Oh, bold and didn't care. Judge me did it judge me attitude or can't judge me should be expected.
Really selfish, right? And jealous. And I think she was
self-loving.
Daughter, right? Her parents paid more attention to her daughter than her. They loved her daughter more than she felt loved by them.
Yep.
So jealousy ruled the day.
Heck, if I was one of them people, I'd be like, love my daughter. Take your eyes off me. I'm headed out. Here, watch my daughter. Here, I'm going to go meet a guy at a club. If I was that immature, I'm not that person.
Her numbers are a train wreck. Whoever said that, accurate.
Yeah. Okay.
They said that.
And they're similar to. Let me see. No, actually, a little bit different. The same life path as O.J. Simpson. But he has that. He has a lot of 6s in his profile, and that's the same as Charlie.
Like
666 stars Manson.
Devil or angel number, where you can be Meryl Streep and sweet as pie, or you can be not.
The devil. 666.
Yeah. So that's that. So Fox News, FOX.
Let's talk about.
They're
I
all.
don't watch any news. I think all of them have devil numbers.
X is a 6. Just saying.
Well, I also what was Biden's text number on his signs? 3033 something or whatever they were trying to read into. But the thing is like I think all the news, like I don't believe any news whatsoever, what network. I do watch a Crowder guy on YouTube. If you want to know the truth, go to these YouTube pages that present the news and don't have that great of a following and watch them, because they actually CNN and all these big networks are trying to shut these small guys down and not say, and they really put the truth out there, non-biased and things. But I don't trust Fox, CNN, MSNBC, any of that. I don't watch any of it. I don't.
That's good.
Will.
I don't watch any of it.
I watch MTV.
None of it. It's all baloney. It's all the dog and pony show.
MTV News is the only news I watch.
What am I going to stress out my life for? For what?
Get your news from like Trevor Noah and John Oliver.
Yeah, something funny. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to stress my life out about watching. Yeah,
SNL.
Life is already stressful enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
My dad is a big Fox News person, and he watches it from daylight and dark, and he wants to know why he's depressed. What do you watch?
There you go.
Come on.
Yeah, news.
They don't show anything good whatsoever, period, on any platform, political, economically, anything. Nothing's good.
Here's the kicker. They get your heart pressure and your blood pressure up, and then they'll sell you the damn heart pills right on there, too.
There's an ad for They're creating
that's the crazy part of it. That's the whole big circle.
Market.
Yeah. Oh my
Okay,
God.
so Fox is 666. What's CNN? 333 767.
355.
What was it?
355.
355.
It's actually 4, and 4 is like reliable, loyal, truth teller, but not necessarily that they are. But that's what it would stand for. Like 4 energy is very like you have 2 4s in your chart, Emily.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. But how about, like, we do numbers off names, like Devil and Lucifer. Like, what's their numbers? Is the devil a 4? Is Lucifer an 8? I'm sorry, I'm an 8 number, but like does
Lucifer 5, so like drama, chaos, like
perfect.
yeah,
It's the bill.
Yeah, and just stand by doing math.
I mean, I'm assuming like spiritual names should be different than earthly names too, because we're talking in the paranormal world. This could go forever, but
Lucifer's an 11, leadership. Part.
Lucifer.
Right.
He was the leader of the-
Jezebel.
How would I be spelling that?
Jezebel. Interesting. Jezzy. Jezebel, don't lose your charm. That's a song.
Also, it's an 11, leadership.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm. That's the spirit over media, in my opinion, is the Jezebel spirit. And that's Clinton.
And
that's Clinton.
An 11 reduces to a 2, and 2 rules anxiety. But an 11 also has a lot of duality on it. You were asking me about intuition and numbers before we came on. How different numbers hold a different type of intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So 11 is like a doorway where people have like that connection to the spirit world. So they make good mediums and they're the good angel communicators. But they also have a lot of sensitivity, so they can be sensitive to energy. So if I was going to go to an intuitive or, I don't know, tarot read or something, I'd want them to have 11 energy, not necessarily 2, but 11. And I'd ask them even if they have allergies, like, are you allergic to anything? Because generally you can't be sensitive to energy and not be sensitive to food or chemicals or dust or mold or all those other things that are common allergens. So that's a little tip. You can ask your intuitive if they're allergic to anything. Find them, real deal.
There you go.
6 intuition is sort of like a mother's 6th sense. So
that, 6th sense.
Yeah.
I see dead people.
The 6th sense and the eyes on the back of your head where they just know things. Very clairsentient.
Yes.
7 energy is the number that rules nature. And so these are the people who communicate with animals and trees and really get strong messages when they're around water or in nature. That's 7. And 9 also has really strong intuition, and they get their information from past lives. So it's more of a remembering in their soul than a knowing necessarily, but they go based on so much past life experience.
That is interesting.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a intuitive or whatever, you want to look for some of that energy.
And 11 and no allergies.
just oh my gosh.
What's that?
I said 11 and no allergies, right? That's it. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, you're looking. Well, that's one of the things.
Right.
Well, it's interesting that these spirits are also 11. The devil, Lucifer, Jezebel, and stuff is 11. They have an entryway to back and forth. There's we say Jacob's ladder for angels that go from heaven to or earth to heaven, heaven to earth. And then you have a realm of what might be demonic, Sheol's, the book of Job talks about it, and the spirits that come from that level. So it's interesting that the 2 spirits that we talked about, which is me personally, the most heavy spirits was Lucifer, devil, and Jezebel, both have an 11. Not that having 11 is demonic. I don't want to put that all there. I think that you're spiritually gifted. So when you're talking about spirits, they have an open doorway there. So that's
doorway.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool to learn that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
All words have an energy. So when you look at different words, they all have some kind of an energy.
I have a feeling you're going to come back on the show in 2021. Can you do that? What day do you want to come on? Just pick a Friday and
Any Friday.
Anybody from March and forward. Let's do
This is interesting though. So I just looked at the word Jesus, and
Okay.
it's 2.
It's 11.
Yeah, and I
Really?
also looked at the word God,
Okay.
right? God, and it's an 8, which is about power, right, and money. So I find that interesting. But its personality number, like when I look at just the consonants, it's an 11, and the O is a 6, and so 6 is the mother nurturing kind of energy. So
It's a battle between good and evil. 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. And if you all look, if you see it 1, 1, 1, 11, 11 tomorrow, just think of that battle. Not that this means anything.
it's the doorway. So
Yeah.
you should make a wish and, walk through the doorway to get it. So solar eclipse is December 14th. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Big, powerful, super extra moon.
Well, I believe astrology and the moon and all that stuff, like, because I hate to keep going back to the Bible, but the Bible talks and tells us to look to the skies for signs, and talks about blood moons and the strawberry moons and things like that.
You'll like this, the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that it's only like once every 700 to 800 years.
Right.
It's actually called the Star of Bethlehem, and they actually think it's possibly what the wise men were following.
I believe that, because the Hale-Bopp comet that went over us in 1998, when that Heaven's Gate people committed suicide, Hale-Bopp was traced back to Noah. That was the comet that flew over Noah. And in the last days, it says in the Bible, it's going to be like the days of Noah. So when science discovered this, and it was science, it wasn't Christian anything. Science does do this, but the Hale-Bopp comet, they officially said, was the same comet that flew over Noah that was spoken about in the Bible. So it's like the stars, like I have a hard time because I live in a Bible Belt, and these Baptist folk, I'm sorry, like anything when it comes to stars, numbers, all this stuff, like they say it's demonic. I'm like, man, the Bible's full of it. Like the Bible talks more about spirit.
You don't understand it. It's evil, right? It's just it's a lack of understanding. So.
Yeah, it is. It's ignorance, really, and they don't want to learn is the thing too. They're grounded in this that they're not even open to learning anything different. Now, I go to a church that is spirit-filled. I say that that is open to the, and actually I've learned a lot through my church. So I'm thankful for the church I go to, and they know the spiritual warfare that goes on, and they spend a lot of time in prophecy and things, and talking about the Bibles on all these different realms. And I've heard, really back in the day, I heard about numerology from the pulpit, really, and I just didn't know what it was until I've gotten older and wanted to know more about it. And then Miss Joy of Numerology came along and got me really interested in it.
Is absolutely full of hidden messages, and they all work like. I just look like heaven is a 1, hell is a 1, like the same, right? So that's a mirror. So yeah, it's interesting.
Hey, Starla, for the first time, we've gone way over time, actually.
I know.
But we can go forever, and I have you're going to come back on in 2021 because this is crazy, and we didn't really get to talk about Chris Watts because that was the big huge thing on Netflix too that I watched it. Will, did you watch it?
No,
Chris
I haven't
Watts?
watched it. I have not.
No. I'll watch it, and then I'll have lots to say.
Yeah.
I have to be the right frame of mind to watch that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
because I know it's going to get me down, so I have to mentally prepare for myself for that.
You watched The Queen?
No, not The Queen. Well, I do watch that, but what's it called? The Queen's Gambit.
Oh yeah, she's from Louisville.
Oh, is she?
Kentucky.
No, I'm in the middle of that right now.
Well, I watched all that like in 2 days because I like Kentucky stuff and about characters from Kentucky. It's based on a true story. I don't think all this stuff happened, but she's from Louisville, Kentucky, and So
I also looked at Christopher Watt's wife, and I can tell you that they were not a happy couple.
I'm sure.
Like I mean, I know that she met a very unfortunate end, but she wasn't a treat to live with. So, not that you get murdered for that and all your children or else.
Yeah.
Well, I hate the biggest part was the kids, and I think there's still some conspiracy behind it, because from where I worked in crude oil, and he put these children in the tanks there, like that tank, because I personally went with truck drivers to learn what they were doing for at least 3 days. I got my FR gear or whatever, and put that on flame resistant gear, and went out on 3 days. Most of them were 12 to 14 hour days, and went out there and learned how to grind the oil, to take it off, put it back on, all this stuff. So anyway, you go up to the top of these tanks and you open up it looks like a gas, like on your car, a gas. Okay. You turn that, you measure, you go all the way down, you take the thing, you measure and see how much is in that tank. You do every one of them before you decide on what you're going to pull. You pull the fullest first. Okay. So that hole, I'm guaranteeing at the most is probably 10 inches round. Now, how did he get his children in that hole without no broken bones, no bruising, nothing? Like, I don't understand that. Like, I've been there. I've seen those things. I've seen those tanks. And like, are they just saying this? Because there's a lot of stuff in this documentary that I sit there and think that the cops didn't question. The cops, I don't know. It's kind of all like there's a conspiracy. Now, going back and looking at the Peterson trial, Scott Peterson, I almost think the cops had something to do with it too. I don't think that he did what he did. I'm leaning more to Scott Peterson, almost, I hate to say this, and I'll probably get a lot of backlash on this, almost being innocent rather than guilty after reading
his numbers.
No. His numbers.
They're the same as Scott. Well, or yeah, it's
the eyes. The eyes, I believe. The eyes. You look at Scott Peterson's eyes, and you just see it.
No, it's the same. He has the same numbers as, like, they're so similar. Scott Peterson and Chris Watts. They have a lot in common.
The only thing that, and this is something I watched on Amazon Prime, the only thing difference between Scott and Chris Watts is that there was a lot of witnesses for Scott Peterson, and witnesses that saw Lacey at certain times, that the press, which we can't believe the media, and all that stuff, that did not release, that should have been released, and that the court system shot down, and it should have been brought up in trial, and they wouldn't put it in as evidence. And I have watched an Amazon Prime video, and I don't know if that's true or not either, but they pushed up the documents. They put out people that they interviewed and everything. And that's what's kind of made me think that Scott Peterson is not the guilty party in this, with Lacey. And then he might be a douchebag. He maybe cheated on his wife. I've been cheated on too in my lifetime. And a lot of men cheat on their wives when they're pregnant. I looked that up too. Ratios. Yeah, there's a lot. So just because he cheated doesn't mean he's a murderer. But I think that the media played that up, and there was a lot of stuff that wasn't put in as evidence for his trial that could have made you think differently of him. I'm hoping, because I think he's appealed it a couple times. I think he might end up getting a new trial actually here soon.
Do you think OJ's innocent?
No.
Okay, I'm just gauging. I'm just trying to find.
No, he's guilty.
I'm just trying to find where your set point is. Okay.
I'm not guilty. I'm the juice.
If you have any juice, if you have any OJ memorabilia, don't let him know about that either.
No.
He may come in there and rob you. No.
Yeah.
Isn't he free now?
Yes, he is.
Isn't he out of jail now? He's out of jail now.
Yeah, he lives in Florida somewhere.
Everybody goes to Florida.
Absolutely. All the dirtbags come to Florida.
didn't hear someone from Florida say that.
I'm from Florida, though. That's the thing.
No.
I was born and raised, but I know how it works down here. It's all the dirtbags come from everywhere else that come here.
Speaking of dirtbags, like even like restraining order stuff, like the law down there in Florida is like, if you get to the court first before the actual victim, that you are good and you're golden. You are golden.
Yeah.
You're covered. It doesn't matter what the victim says or goes. Well, just like, you know,
A lot of weird laws here in Florida. It's
tons.
Yeah.
Tons.
They have your stand your ground rule here, all that crazy stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff. It's, you know, stuff that I don't necessarily
That's why I'm moving to Florida when I retire.
I were in Orlando. He was at a big convention. I went with him. We were on the tarmac the day of the 2016 election.
Oh boy.
And our plane was delayed like almost 4 hours. And I was like, we just need to get the hell out of here. Like, I cannot be in Florida for this election
anymore. Right. Yeah.
Actual day, like election day, we're flying out. Just the way I was like,
well, it was Florida with Gore and Clinton too.
Right. Well, that's what,
you know.
16. So we actually switching planes is when we found out like Trump was winning. We're like, what? Like, because it wasn't. So, but we changed planes in Toronto, and then we got. Oh wow, that's happening. Wow. So,
oh boy.
That election, the numbers were just a total toss-up with what was happening. But I don't know. It looks like Trump is going into a 7-year, and so was Pence, and so is Melania. They all have the same cycle.
777.
Yep. And so 7 rules legal matters, and so I imagine that they'll all be dealing with some type of legal issues. And the other thing, 7 energy rules is depression. And so they could be dealing with some
emotional.
Time to roll up on that Sudafed.
Man, I just I don't care what.
Better lawyer up and get that Sudafed going.
Propofol too. Hey, I just don't like how can you really be joyous to be a president of the United States or hold any kind of empire? Like, man, that has to. Like, I mean, even with the media, that's a hostile work environment. And they made him in a naked statue in New York's Times Square. They put Trump up naked, showing all of his glory, what they think it looks like, and all that stuff. Like, hold on now, this guy, I don't care if you like him or not, he's still well, he's still a husband, he still has children, he has grandkids. And that was pure evil to me. I don't care how bad you don't like somebody. I would never put somebody up naked like that. And they were mocking him, writing on his body, putting all kinds of marks and stuff on that. It was just like not America. That's not what we were founded on. And regardless of political stance, you don't act like that. You just don't.
No,
and
it can be a year of shift and change, right? And where people are accepting of other people's ideas. I always say, you don't have to be wrong for me to be right. So be over there believing whatever you want to. I'm going to be over here believing what I want to.
Yeah.
We'll respect each
other. That's how it should be.
Yeah. So but this is a year where we can have some of that healing.
I hope so. Gosh. Woo.
Yeah.
You know, my dad's afraid to wear his Trump hat out because he's afraid he'll get beat up. He's 76 years old. You know, that we shouldn't live in a country that's like that because it happens.
I think we'll have more tolerance perhaps this year. Hopefully that comes out of it. But at the same time, you still have people who are fueling division over this election, still aren't accepting of the result, and trying to create some type of civil unrest and, you know, fighting.
And we have these movements too that are being paid by, in my opinion, big names that is probably Illuminati related. And this is a whole other story.
That is a whole other thing.
my son. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. So we have these movements that are like, what was that video a couple weeks ago where it was the Biden supporters like, please be peaceful, my Biden sign's in the yard, and they start yelling at him about white racism and all this kind of stuff. It was crazy. So it was like, it's a heart issue. It's not a political issue. It's the matters of the heart.
No. 2021 hopefully brings some kind of change, shift. It definitely will. It's just a matter of how well people deal with it. Some people really don't do well with change at all.
Right.
And they have to be like, they get dragged, kicking and screaming. And you're going to have a lot of
It's baby boomers.
2022 will be more passionate, more love.
That's what I like.
You know, so
Is it because weed is going to be more regulated, like released out over the nation? Every state's going to have weed.
That's the house today.
Congress legalized that for you. We've had legal weed for a long time, so
I'm a proponent. Go. Yes.
I like the wine, but
yeah,
I like wine too. I like both. Anything that starts with a W. Weed and wine. Well, we went an hour over. Did not expect this whatsoever, and obviously there's a lot more that we can go into. But yeah. Joy, really quickly, I had your website up here a few moments ago.
Joy,
please tell everybody where they can find you, about your and you have Facebook, your social media, you're on Instagram too, and your website is joyofnumerology.com. You have classes and things too.
I haven't been doing a lot of the teaching stuff, but I do it from time to time. I do webinars and things, and I don't know, I'm going to embrace the technology of a 5-year and start doing more videos. So
do it.
I have a YouTube. I don't enjoy video. I find it just like exhausting, but I guess it's kind of funny for someone who has a TV show. It's not my favorite, but I'm going to start doing it because I think that is what people like right now.
You're right.
Yeah, you are right. All this social media stuff's coming up. Kate says, thanks for amazing evening. Appreciate everyone so much. So thank you, Kate. If you're also following and stuff, please share the video, share it to your pages. Follow Joy of Numerology on Facebook. The links and everything is posted up here on the description of the show this evening. Please click there. She also has a book out on Amazon, The Beginner's Guide of Numerology. Please go and purchase that. Good Christmas gift.
Yes.
Good Christmas gift. Hopefully, we're going to see a new book come out since you spoke about that earlier.
I need to focus. I'll focus.
2021 is the focus.
2022 when she has her weed and wine.
No, I see my wine color full. That's what I need. It's 9 personal month right now, so I would never start anything. So
Linda also says it's great to see you again, Joy. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So next week, we're going to be back here live again at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Pun Network TV and YouTube. That's youtube.com/Emily Menshouse for What the Frick Live. And we're going to have a hypnotist next week. So, yeah.
Who's getting hypnotized?
It is Brenda K. And I always offer up Will.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
I think no. Okay, it's good.
Yeah, I offer up Will as tribute. What is that?
Joe's gonna say something too. She's like,
Hunger Games.
Oh, good. Okay, so she did say I'll come back.
She did a thing the last time. It was like a little. Remember that, Will?
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
This isn't working. This isn't working, and it started working.
Yeah, it's a mental thing though. She's giving you a mental suggestion.
It's nice.
Yeah.
like I'm kind of interested in past life regression stuff now, like when it comes to hypnotism.
That's interesting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that, a little bit of that next week. But thank you, Joy. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'm sure you're going to be back on in 2021. And thank you to everybody that watched this evening. Hopefully everyone has a great night. We'll see you all next Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Pun TV and YouTube. So